Okay, let's get into a little bit more of the intro to SolidWorks, and then we're going to talk a little bit about design intent. And so what I've done here is I've opened up the SolidWorks menu, which you have, or menu, I'm sorry, the SolidWorks Essentials book, which I have posted on Blackboard and you have access to. This is basically what we are going to be going through this semester, and you can see it's quite thorough in what we're going to be covering. Now you can see all that, and this is just a fraction of what SolidWorks is capable of. And so if you want, we're going to start on page 7. And so you can either follow along here or you can just watch the video. And so SolidWorks, we call it's a parametric modeling program. And now what does that mean? So that means basically it's feature-based, and parametric means that it is basically a lot of individual pieces or parts that make up a larger part, or even multiple parts that are going to make up an assembly. It also means that when we change one aspect of this feature, it's going to have a ripple effect, and it's going to change other things as well. And so the way SolidWorks operates is if we create a solid model and then we create a drawing for it, if I come back and I change one, say, dimension or feature on the model, it's also going to carry that on down the line, and it's automatically going to change the drawing. So everything stays in line, and that's one of the benefits about parametric modeling. And so these different elements or parts of a drawing are what we're going to call features. And they're made up of, whether they're solids like bosses, or fillets or chamfers. We also have, kind of negative images, which are cuts, holes. We have ribs, all different kind of very easily to understand. They're applied in two different ways. We have sketch features, and what we're going to do first is we're going to learn how to do a two-dimensional sketch, and then we're going to extrude that or revolve that to create a solid around it. We also have applied features, which after we already have created a solid, we're going to put on a chamfer or a radius or a fillet or something to that nature. So as mentioned during the first video, when I had the SolidWorks interface open, far to the left we had what I call the design tree, and what that does is it keeps track of the sequence of parts as they're created. Now if we look at these two images here, we can see that like I said, the things we create in SolidWorks are like a collection of parts, and here this completed part is really the collection of 3 separate features. And if you look here below, these have been separated, and here I've got a cylinder with a hole, I've got this kind of flat piece with an arc, and then underneath I've got this kind of rectangle, and they all come together. We create these individually, and then we join them together, and we come up with our part. So here in this picture you can see where it shows the design tree, and it's got an arrow pointed to each feature, and you can see how it keeps track of that. And basically as we create each feature, it's automatically going to kind of apply it and attach it in the way that we want to create it. So going back to parametric, and kind of like I mentioned before, parametric kind of means that we're making a bunch of parts to create a bigger part, but it also means that it is driven by dimensions. And so like I mentioned, if I have a part and I go back into it to edit it, and I had something that was, say, 3 inches long, and now I change that dimension to 5 inches, the whole feature on my screen is going to adjust to that, and it's going to expand to 5 inches. So most things are driven by dimensions, and whether it's the diameter of a hole or a boss or the length of some type of feature, so we've got that part of how we create. The other part is going to be relations or constraints. And these two work in conjunction with each other. And so a relation is, are two lines parallel? Are they perpendicular? Are they, is one dimension the same as another dimension? Meaning if I have two arcs on a sketch, I want to keep them the same. What this does is it reduces the number of dimensions that we have to put onto a sketch, but it also keeps things constrained. And so if I go in and I change, say, a width of a line, it ensures that maybe two lines stay parallel to each other or perpendicular to each other. And so it helps me confine that drawing into ways that, or sketch that in ways that I'm intending it to be. All right, so the opposite, or maybe just a different mode of creating, is called direct modeling, which SOLIDWORKS is not. And so with direct modeling, we can just go in and we can sketch something and we can stretch it and do whatever. Think of like a piece of clay, and we stretch it to, become this part or this shape, whatever we want, and we can put dimensions on it. But now when I go back in and maybe I edit a dimension, it's not going to move everything. And not everything stays related to each other. And so it may be good for, like artistic stuff or to get a design concept, but like an engineering based part, it probably creates more work in the end, where this parametric model or parametric based modeling is, it's very design intended, and it goes in steps, and it's very intentional on what we want to do, and therefore the dimensions, when we change something, it changes all the way down the line. It's my preferred way, and I think that's what you're mainly going to find in industry. So we're going to stop this video here. My goal here is to not have extremely long videos, and so you can go back and search for stuff maybe more easily. And so we're going to pick the rest of this lecture up on the next video.